Hello and welcome to WOW, Positive News for Kids. I'm Alistair, and this week's story is called Genes of Hope. We're going to be talking about genetic illnesses, a difficult subject, but some really positive news that we've heard this week. Here's the story. Genes of Hope. Helen has good news she's been sharing this week. It's about blood, but don't worry, it really is good news, not just for Helen, but for millions of other young people. Her story shows how scientists are now curing illnesses by fixing people's genes. Now, genes are like little bits of computer code that your body gets from mum and dad when you're born. So, all her life, 16 years, Helen had to deal with pain that often made her cry. She had operations in hospital, and in winter the cold kept her indoors. Helen suffered from sickle cell anemia, or SCA. Her blood didn't do its job properly. The red cells in blood should be round, a bit like donuts, so that they can move smoothly around our veins. But some of Helen's blood cells were not donuts, but shaped like bananas, or doctors call them sickles. I don't know, do you know what a sickle is? You don't see them much around these days, but it's a big curved knife that farmers used to use to harvest wheat by hand. The fantastic news that Helen just had, and which she spoke about to the American newspaper The New York Times this week, is that she now has brand new blood. She can go out in the cold. She's taken up dancing, something she used to find too painful. Sometimes she dances so much her legs ache. But her mum is so happy to tell her that that's just what happens to healthy people too. Now, you might wonder, what's the big deal about getting new blood? Our bodies make new blood all the time. Think about it. If you bleed, you just make more. But the problem for Helen and the millions of other people with SCA, which is the most common of all the many illnesses that can be caused by genes, the problem for them is that the new blood in their bodies, it contains more sickle cells that just get jammed up again inside their veins, and that makes them unwell. Now, doctors have known for many years that this disease is inherited. That means that without knowing it, parents can pass these genetic illnesses to some of their children, and also not to others. Helen's big sister Hayley was also born with sickle cell, but not their little brother Ryan. Scientists are now working on various gene therapy cures, and brave young people are a vital part of those experiments. A boy in France was just 13 when he went through an operation to replace his blood-making gene in 2014. His doctor, Professor Cavazzana, she told WOW just this week that he's still doing well. Helen was 16 last summer when doctors in Boston in the United States took cells from her bones, changed their genetic code, that's a complicated process but very clever, and then injected them back into Helen's bloodstream. Now, 6 months later, they found that she's making nice round blood cells. All donuts, no more sticky bananas. It'll take years, of course, to be sure that these gene therapies are really safe and to make them simpler and cheaper for everyone. But Helen's story shows how the magic of genes is giving us new chances in life. I think we should listen to what Helen herself said. This year has been one of the toughest years for me. That's what she wrote in a Facebook post for New Year. But now Helen said she's going to start a new life. This is what she said, and I think we'll conclude on this. I'm going to live it the best I've ever lived life. This has been the WOW Podcast. I'm Alistair. We'll be back soon. Until then, stay positive.